Everybody, it's JP, and in today's video we have broken past 1700 Lichess. This game brought us just over, ending at 1703, and we're going to review it. So, white started e4, I have my d6 standard going into this Pirk. Now, whenever this bishop comes out to this square, I know that I have a tactic to transform the center advantageously for myself. Right now, white has the two center pawns, which controls the center, where I have not yet advanced my e-pawn and my d-pawn is still back on the 6th rank. However, I noticed a lot of people fall for this tactic. So the move is knight takes. And you would think, oh, well, the knight just takes back and you're down a piece. Well, the knight does take back, and then you fork these two pieces with your pawn, protected by your queen. And you're getting your piece back. And now you've gotten rid of one of their central pawns. So this is already great for black. He takes, I take back. This I need to work on. I always... In this game, I brought my queen back to d8, but that's not the best. It doesn't lose, it's just not great. And then I want to make this bishop move, because sitting here on this square he pins. I can't move this pawn, because then my queen would be attacked. So I make a move back. I want to develop my last minor pieces. This move here, the queen bishop battery, I had to move my king up to protect this square twice, and he's just centralizing. Now, the reason I chose to bring the bishop out here now, notice I have the bishop pair, which is an advantageous configuration of minor pieces. The bishop pair is superior to bishop and knight. But I'm willing to trade my bishop pair for damaging white's structure. The queen moving away from the defense of this knight means that white would be forced to recapture with his pawn, opening this g-file for me and doubling the pawns, creating a target for me to possibly pile up my forces on in the future. That's why I've developed in this way. Realistically, the queen should have just come back here, but now I'm allowed to do what I want. Notice the knight also can't move, because then I would take the rook and I would be up in exchange, which is even worse. Well, I actually don't know if him damaging his structure. I don't know. Anyway, he centralizes, I damage his structure. This is a bad move. I was looking to get my knight here to attack both of these, because I wanted to trade my knight for his bishop, so I would have bishop versus knight with the minor piece in balance, and then I would keep the board open, which would favor me, but this move totally stops that. So that was just a bad move. And my knight makes no sense over here. I am putting my pawns on light squares to negate the effects of his queen. So the bishop cannot fight for the light squares. Only the rooks, his knight, and his queen can. But if the majority of my pawns are on light squares, then that negates the effects of his pieces, while I have a dark square bishop to match anything that his dark square bishop would do. He moves, and I want to get my knight back into the game. He advances his pawn, and I'm finally able to get my queen in. My rooks were connected a little bit later than I would have wished. But, I mean, it's not the worst. My plan is I'm putting my pieces close to the enemy king, because it's open. His king is weak. This was very weakening. And even if I don't get the king right away, then maybe I can get this pawn, because it's not easy to defend. Realistically, only the knight and the queen are able to defend this pawn on this square. He could move it to a dark square so that his bishop can protect it, but then that weakens it even further because he's moving it up the board. So he tries to advance and attack my knight. This, I purposely did not move my knight until he made this move because I wanted to get my knight onto this square. Notice once he moves this pawn to attack my knight, this square is no longer defended by this pawn. So we have this sequence, and I'm threatening to capture this pawn with a check and a fork. Right now, White's best move is to get off of this square, because even if he moves the queen out of the way, I'm still going to win the exchange and the pawn on this rook, and it would be a severe deficit for him to come back. Also, my knight and queen would be coordinating for a checkmate attack, so that's not great for him either. Like, he's in pretty dire straits right now. He didn't see any of that. He just made a terrible move. Notice that the game actually ended where he was at 1 minute 55, and I was at 12 minutes 1 second. My opponent used terrible time management this game, and he was panicking. He saw my pieces were getting close to his exposed king, and he just made a really bad move. This move actually loses the game pretty much instantly because I did what I had set out to do. I captured this pawn with check, and the queen is forked, and this is forked, and yeah, this is also forked. But so he moves. I don't have check. If he had moved onto this square, this would be checkmate immediately. But I have something which is almost as good. I win a queen for a knight. Notice after his rook recaptures, I would also take his bishop. White is totally lost here. So to sort of recount the steps that I took to get this win, I developed my pieces in a normal way. I noticed this pattern where I would be able to transform the center in an advantageous way for myself. I executed that transformation. I did make this mistake, so I need to find a better square for my queen after the knight comes back here. I developed the rest of my minor pieces. I damaged White's structure because I noticed that the queen was not guarding this minor piece. This was another mistake that I had made. I should not have put my knight over here. I should have, I don't know, moved some pawns to remove the defender of this square, something, and brought my knight over here sooner. But, oops. I moved my queen close to the weak king. White made this blunder, which allowed me to get this in, keeping this in mind. Remember that even if I didn't win this pawn, this fork is still set up. Even if he gets this queen out of the way, well, not here, because then my bishop would fucking take it. But maybe to like this square, like I'm still forking these. I was aware of his poor coordination, and I coordinated advantageously against that. So, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm going to be starting a climb to 1800. See you there.